Hello guys, this is Cardmates, and today we'll talk about 5 Ace Suited. 5 Ace Suited is a powerful hand that has generated a lot of conversation in the past few years. If you've ever looked at pre-flop ranges, you've likely noticed that this hand gets included in a lot of different ranges, even when some higher suited aces are not.
Hey guys, we are giving away $25 at the Pokerstars Poker Room. 5 players will receive $5 each on their accounts. Just leave your nickname and email in the Pokerstars room in the comments under this video and become a participant in the giveaway, which will take place on our Cardmates Instagram. Good luck!
It's because it's such a cool and versatile hand. I'm going to show you how best to play it in cash games. As I usually do in these types of videos, I'm going to cover pre-flop strategy and post-flop tips for when you hit and miss the flop. Here we go! Let's take a look at how to play this hand pre-flop first. Unopened Pots. This hand is strong enough to be open raised from any position. Ace 5s is too strong to fold, and limping would only head to smaller pots being won on average over the long run. You should actually never open limp with any hand. Against a raise? When faced with a raise, this hand is a perfect candidate for 3-bet bluffing from all positions. This is because it has high equity and equity realization due to being able to flop flushes, straights, flush draws, and straight draws when called, and great blockers against the villains continuing range pre-flop. While raising is an option, you have the option of just calling when you have this hand in the big blind. It's up to you, but from all the other positions, I strongly recommend you 3-bet every time you are faced with an open raise. Against a 3-bet. When faced with a 3-bet after open raising, Ace 5 suited is a marvelous 4-bet bluff candidate for all the reasons why it's a great 3-bet bluff candidate. Just re-listen to the reasons that I gave out in the previous section if you need a refresher. Against a 4-bet. Playing against 4 bets requires a more nuanced conversation. I will divide the scenario into 2 parts. First, after we've 3-bet out of position, and second, after we've 3-bet in position. After 3-betting out of position and facing a 4-bet from the original raiser, the solver recommends using this hand as a 5-bet bluff shove, at least some percentage of the time. I advise you to only do this against opponents that are 4-bet bluffing enough. Given how tight many players are pre-flop, I think there is a very high probability that you are not going to play against such an opponent at the current time. After 3-betting in position against your opponent, the solver elects to call against a 4-bet some percentage of the time. Again, I recommend you only take this line of action if you have a strong read that your opponent is 4-betting with a balanced range. Otherwise, calling with Ace 5s would be simply disastrous. Tips for playing when you miss the flop. As the pre-flop raiser. Tip number 1. Always bet when you flop any real draw. Ace 5 doesn't have much showdown value, which makes it a good semi-bluffing hand when you have outs to improve to a straight or flush. That includes gunshot straight draws. This hand has the added benefit of being able to draw to the nut flush, which further incentivizes to build the pot in case the flush completes and it can cooler lower flushes. Examples: Ace 5 on Jack 8-2 or Ace 5 on 8-4-3. Tip 2. Always bet when you have a backdoor flush draw. When you have some type of backdoor equity like a backdoor straight draw or backdoor flush draw, then it's best to bet. This is because it will enable you to continue semi-bluffing when the turn gives you a real draw. Given that you also hold the ace, there's the added chance that you will hit a top pair on the turn and be able to value bet for the next 2 streets. Examples: Ace 5 on 10-7-2, Ace 5 on Queen 6-3. Tip 3. In 3-bet pots when the board is king high or queen high, you should c-bet even if you don't have a backdoor flush draw. The idea here is that these boards are very favourable for your range, which means that you can push your edge very hard with very small bets, about a third of the pot, with your whole range. Examples: Ace-5 on King 3-3, or Ace-5 on Queen 7-2. 3 tips for playing when you hit the flop. Tip 1. When you flop top pair in a 3-bet pot, lean towards betting on the flop and checking on the turn. On most boards, the top pair that you'll hit will not be strong enough to value bet for 3 streets. Ace-5's top pair are usually worth betting 2 streets for value, and it's usually better to extract this value by betting flop, checking turn, and betting river, rather than bet checking. This way, you can pick off some bluffs from your opponent who may attack your check or find yourself in a clear value bet spot on the river after the opponent checks again. More clarity equals better decisions. Tip 2. Never slow play your super strong made hands. This tip really applies to every hand. When you have a strong hand in poker, you should almost always lean towards building the pot ASAP. When you flop 2 pairs, trips, a straight or a flush, you should basically always fast play your hand. Tip 3. If you have a top pair plus a flush draw, always double barrel on the turn. As previously mentioned, normally the top pairs you hit with Ace-5 will not be strong enough to value bet for 3 streets, so you should often check the turn. But this changes when you have a flush draw to go with your top pair, especially when you're drawing to the nuts. The addition of a flush draw pushes the value of the hand just above the threshold that makes it worth betting. This is due to the implied odds of hitting the flush or 2 pair by the river. Wrapping up, Ace-5 suited is an awesome hand to hold. It's so dynamic and can hit disguised hands that your opponents might miss in their estimation of your strategy. Now you've got a really strong blueprint for handling 95% of the situations you will find yourself in with this hand. Make sure you put this knowledge to good use. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something new. I'm looking forward to reading your feedback and replying to any questions you might have. If you want to keep improving your poker skills, subscribe to my channel, Grinder. See you soon, and good luck at the poker tables.